The last four photos is looking from the site south. So the first photo is again the residential homes in front across the street, then the intersection, and then there is another residential. That third photo on the bottom, it kind of illustrates a bit better what I was trying to explain, where the landscape has been actually a very interesting component to really make this separation between industrial and residential. So our proposed site plan incorporates some consideration, and I would say very strong consideration to the residential areas to the east and to the south and to the west. We kept the main access. So some of these ones are, we kept the main access to the site along number 4 road to not bring any more traffic to Kilby Drive, which we know is a residential street and road. At the same time, we retained existing trees along Kilby Drive and the west side, as is indicated in this slide, to protect, first of all, because they're beautiful, and of course we all are trying to become greener and greener as we move forward. But secondly, because they are a very important component to isolate and to protect and separate industrial from residential. And finally, we kept most of the back services for this industrial unit on the north side, which is further away from residential. So trying to avoid any potential noise or any potential visual connection to, let's say, garbage enclosures, mechanical and electrical services, and even the loading for this development. I will come back to this slide, and probably Jessica from Cron will provide a bit more information on the landscape provided on site. But just to reiterate that even if we're using a kind of native land plants to reduce the irrigation, we really thought about what would be a good group of plants that will still encourage that separation between industrial and residential. I would again, we'll come back to that in a minute, but in terms of the building form and use, typically these buildings are pretty much straightforward, where it's expected that all the storage will happen on the ground floor and office space will be on the second level. Therefore, we want the second level to have good views to the outside, especially to gain natural light for an open office space, which typically that's what they have. And also on the ground floor, we're trying to achieve the maximum height that we can, so the storage and the racking systems can be arranged with efficiency. The proposed elevations are a combination of modern expression, I would say, with a simple play of colors. Our client is a forward-thinking client, which I really appreciate, and he encouraged us to be modern in the design. He's looking to create an statement for buyers and sellers to actually be interested in this development. So our approach to that, considering that we're using insulated tilt-up panels, was to play with the planes that we have on the building, the colors creating different forms and breaking and articulating the flat facades that we have. We also play with the window arrangement in a way that it articulates but also creates an interesting solid open rhythm within the building. And we did actually incorporate some red, I would say, accent color. So we can, within a very monochromatic kind of elevation, we're not playing with a lot of colors. We did introduce one to accent and emphasize some portions of the building all the way around. At the same time, we incorporated some feature balconies, as we call them, to break that massing of the buildings, especially at the intersections and corners, where they will be more visible. I would like also to bring to your attention that in our effort to provide a better connection and interaction between residential and industrial, we are providing a wood fence separation between the residential to our east and our development, where we are facing the multi-storage property. That when we change to chain link fence, which is permitted by zoning. Further down, you will see that most of the building will be really covered by the existing trees, which I think is not a problem, but we will still see some of the different textures and colors that we're proposing. Our corner of the building on the south elevation, again, it has an open balcony. We have a cantilever wall. We're playing with colors, textures, and shapes in the tilt ups. Based on our design panel review, we incorporated some, again, color and texture facing the multi-storage building, just to enhance their view for the new building. You can see there we incorporated some concrete foam liners. We painted some strips, and the balconies are also open to the neighboring site. The interior elevations are quieter, I would say, from what we're expressing on the outside, because we're trying to create a space to leave more space for the signage. These units are only going to be facing an interior driveway. So once you're inside, the only thing that is going to really call your attention is where are you going? What is the business that you want to be in? So the signage, which is not part of this application, will be a big component for the interior elevations. We're also incorporating an interesting, to our opinion, an interesting shape of cladding, and with the canopies that we are incorporating the main entrance canopy with the overhead door canopy. And this is roughly some isometric views that we have created. They have been updated with the latest information that we have. With exception of landscape, I have to say we don't, to this point, we're not providing any modeling for landscape. But this is roughly what we're trying to create, is an appearance of yes, this is an industrial building with office space, but overall it's going to be a simplified, modern look and functional for the site and the tenants, and respectful to all the residential neighbors. These are the main views, the driveway in, where hopefully the signage, as I said, and our feature wall with the canopies will emphasize each unit independently. And the bottom view, you will see that that's a view from Kilby Drive. This is our neighbor. We have the residential unit. And we have developed a shadow analysis as well, which we have reviewed with the city quite a few times. The winter solstice for 21st is basically nonsense because we don't have any sun, unfortunately, at that time. The proposed site civil plan, the upgrades on site are going to my understanding, they're a minimum, and they have been taken care of during the design process. So I'm just going to go back to the landscape image, and I'm going to see if Jessica would like to have add a few comments and words to this design.
Hi, sorry, I'm mute there. I could add some comments to that. We have proposed to a lot of tree retention on this site, and so as such, we have limited planting on the east and the south side of Building B, but then have wrapped Building B and Building A, the street frontages, with some planting. We have some grasses and some broadleafed evergreens and some flowering shrubs, as well as some trees to add some height and shade to the building.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, can I ask a question?
Absolutely, yes.
Is the new planting going to be irrigated at all?
Yes, I believe the planting will be irrigated.
Thank you.
Just further to that, Mr. Chair, if I could too. I mean, I'm not sure, really appreciate the design here and the retention of those existing trees on Kilby. Cedars are very thirsty trees. Is there going to be some impact of the hydrology there, and is there irrigation necessary to maintain those?
I think that the impact to the existing trees in terms of their access to water will be limited. They're mature trees, and so their root systems are deep enough that they're not needing additional water in addition to what they naturally would get from rainfall, et cetera. But the health of those trees will be monitored throughout construction, and if additional water is necessary, I'm sure that could be provided.
Right, okay. Can we actually take down the presentation to get the...
Oh, sorry, I just need to escape.
That's okay.
Stop sharing, yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah. I guess on the tree questions, Wayne, the security that we normally take would include the trees, I'm assuming. And are they under an arborist care?
Through the chair, there will be a separate security for the retention of the trees. We are taking an $85,000 security for retention of those trees, and
right,
to ensure that the certified arborist is on site supervising any work within or close to the tree protection zones.
Yeah. Okay. And how long is the security period?
It will be held for 1 year post-construction, so there will be a post-construction impact assessment required from the project arborist.
Yeah.
Provided no impact identified, we'll release 90% of the security, hold 10% for 1 year.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds appropriate, because the trees are a pretty big factor in terms of integrating this into the residential neighborhood. Okay. So we finished the presentation. Is that it for questions from panel members?
No, I have another small one.
Okay.
I think there are a series of mechanical units shown on the rooftop. I'm assuming that we can assure, because of the residential interface, that they're far enough away and they're screened for sound and visual for the adjacent neighbors.
Yes, I can jump in there on that one, Cecilia. That's correct. Yeah, as part of the development permit process, we had a acoustic report prepared with recommendations for the location of those RTUs and heaters.
Okay, good. Anything else, John, Cecilia?
Yeah, just while we're on that, so is the proposal to use air source heat pumps or on the sustainability?
No, so as this is just a shell building, it's being delivered just with unit heaters inside, but and then the future occupiers of these spaces will come in and fit out once they know exactly what their needs are. It's really difficult at this stage to make those assumptions correctly.
And one final one with the lighting. I do appreciate on the package that we have received that they are downward lighting only. But again, sensitivity to the neighbors, adjacent residential neighbors. Are there any of these lighting on the east side of the property? I know most of it will be blocked by the big trees regardless, but will there be any of the lighting that might be shining or impacting the easterly neighbors?
I have a lighting study prepared by Opal. There is three small wall packs on the eastern side near the mechanical and electrical room. We find with these situations, it's always a balance to find something that provides a certain level of security at night and meeting SEPTED requirements. while not creating a nuisance to the neighbour. So once again with this as well, part of the DP materials we provided was a photometric study just confirming the extent of that light spill. I can't remember the exact value at the moment, but it was acceptable from the city.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so it's been reviewed and considered in order. Okay, good. Any other questions? I don't have any questions, but I did appreciate the presentations. They were great. Evangel, where are you? Has anything changed? Is there anyone here or anything written?
None, Mr. Chair.
Nothing? Okay. So we have a recommendation. Do we want to get it on the floor with a mover?
So moved.
If I could provide a couple staff comments, Mr. Chair.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. I'm sorry, Wayne. I didn't mean to leave you out.
That's quite all right. Just wanted to highlight a couple things that weren't covered in the applicant presentation. There is a servicing agreement for offsite improvements along Number 4 Road and Kilby Drive. We will be installing new curb, gutter, sidewalk, tree boulevard, with the exception of the area where the trees are being retained on Kilby Drive. Level 2 EV charging capabilities are possible within every industrial unit. And just like to thank the applicant for their efforts to save the trees along the perimeter of the site.
Yeah, here. Okay, thanks, Wayne. I thought I saw a diagram in the presentation that showed a sidewalk on Kilby, but it deflected to the curb where the trees are. So, but did you just mention that there won't be a sidewalk there? What's the point?
No, that is an existing condition. The sidewalk is on back of the curb where the trees are. Where you get to the west of the site where there is no trees, we will have a boulevard separating the sidewalk from the vehicle.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Good. And I'm assuming that the building was notched to accommodate the trees. I'm assuming that moving the sidewalk would have jeopardized the trees as well, right?
That is correct. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I think that's all fair. Okay, so we've got the staff recommendation moved and seconded. So any comments from the panel before I call the vote?
Yeah, quickly, that it is a good, straightforward, thoughtful project. Some of these strata unit industrial developments are quite popular in Richmond, so I think this is, quite well done. So thank you.
Yeah, I would echo that too. I think you guys have really obviously done quite a lot of work, put a lot of thought into the neighbours, the residential neighbours, and it's a really nice little project. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm going to call the question. All those in favour? Opposed? It's carried. Thanks very much. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much for your time, everybody.
Okay, take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Wayne, any new business?
No new business.
Okay, and the next meeting is June the 16th, I'm assuming?
Yes, that is correct.
So if there's nothing else, we'll adjourn.
Good day.
Okay, see you, folks.
Goodbye.